It's kind of hard to believe, actually, after more than 60 years, 14 of those here on KBIA, Paul Pepper and his friends are off the air. Paul and producer James Mauser have retired, and to say that it's an end of an era just feels trite. We're going to do something a little bit different today, and we're going to bring in our director, Travis McMillan, using a control room cam, because Travis, in addition to working on our program, you've been heavily involved in Paul's show going back long before any of the three of us ever moved to Columbia. It's been a community staple for generations. Tell us, what does Pepper and Friends and Radio Friends mean to you both personally and professionally?
Yeah, no, thanks, Amy, for having me on. It's always nice to continue the Paul Pepper Never Can Say Goodbye tour. That is me. To understand, I think I'm going to take myself full here for those of you watching, because I'm also directing the show. For those, to understand, I guess, the context of what the show means to me, you have to understand that I go back 30 years with it, since 1993. I was just a young whippersnapper. Paul and James, they believed in me from the start. They really, everything that I have really kind of stems from them. It can all go back to them. So to be a part of Pepper and Friends and then a part of Radio Friends for this long has really been kind of a dream come true. So
tell us a little bit about how the show evolved over time, from what you were doing during the days at KOMU to that transition here to KBIA and also to the syndication on KMOS TV as well.
Yeah, I don't think the show, it didn't really involve, not everything that worked on TV worked on radio, so there were some adjustments to be made there, but it was still all about you at home, right? It was your show, and so he continued that after Pepper and Friends went off the air. KMOS came along, I think, between a partnership with KBIA. Actually, I'm not 100% sure how that came along, but I was happy to do it. It became a half-hour show that ran 3 times a week, and we picked the four episodes from the 5 that we recorded each week and put that on TV.
Take us into the Wayback Machine. Maybe one of those things, an example of one of those things that worked really well on TV out at KOMU that maybe didn't quite work as well on the radio.
Well, actually, I got a really way back here. If you're watching this show, you really should watch this, people. So this is me way back when. This is in 1993. This is the very first meeting. This is where he's trying to figure out which one of my brother, who's me and who's my brother.
Kathy, I know that you've used some of Paul's, I don't even want to say old, because old is now 30 years, right? But you've used some of Paul's segments in your classes to teach different interviewing techniques, like literally as a master class in interviewing. Talk about what made his relationships with his sources so special.
Well, I think, what I try to emphasize with students is that Paul Pepper's style of interviewing is really the style we should emulate. I think a lot of people come into journalism and they think they're going to be Mike Wallace, although some of our students don't know who Mike Wallace is. But in other words, a very aggressive prosecutorial kind of interviewing, which is appropriate on occasion. But most of the time, what journalists do, sometimes we outrage and sometimes we surprise, but a lot of times what we do is delight. And I think that Paul Pepper was really good at doing that. He was great at putting interviewees at ease and getting people to talk about what they wanted to talk about, but sometimes we're too nervous to really articulate until he put them at ease. So I think he was masterful at that. I think every journalist could learn from watching Paul Pepper.
Earnest, I really I'm saddened by this, because we see lifestyle programming still in local TV news, but it's very different. It doesn't have some of the authenticity or the organic development. So many of those are pay-to-play type operations. Yep. There's something about this that just feels innocent and fun and like a piece of Americana that's going away.
Well, I mean, it's a piece of the community. I remember when I came here in 1993, actually. And
were you on the show with Travis?
No, I was not on the show with Travis. But I remember when I came here, I was really surprised that a market of this size would have a show like Pepper and Friends, and the fact that it had been on for so long and it had that longevity and it had the ability to be able to bring different types of people into the community and have that sort of staying power. I mean, it was something that KOMU was known for, and so when it stopped airing on KOMU and they made the transition to KBIA, I think it still gave people in the community an opportunity to be able to sort of find that togetherness that you
trusted local voice.
A trusted local voice that you just don't see anymore. Even the large markets, which most of them had these kinds of shows, even most of them have abandoned that format. So, I mean, I do think that it is something that even now is desperately needed.